just an amazing place. But by 1600, Florence had declined, certainly. But still, opera began pretty much there. The first great composer of operas, I think, was Monteverdi, Claudio Monteverdi. Early operas are hard to listen to. Only the lovers of history can listen to them with much interest, I think. But opera grew, especially we can see in Italy. But the Italians started everything. I guess I would choose Don Giovanni. I think it's one of the 5 greatest operas, maybe one of the 2. I take the 2 greatest operas to be Aida and Don Giovanni. Right up there with it are The Marriage of Figaro, also by Mozart. Don Giovanni's by Mozart. Carmen by Bizet, French opera, absolutely great. And I guess La Traviata by Verdi. Aida's by Verdi, La Traviata by Verdi. Today we're going to talk about the Italian Renaissance in art. Sorry. This is one of the glorious periods of Western civilization. Not, I think, in all arts, but certainly in the visual arts. The Beaux-Arts, I guess, namely painting and sculpture. A couple of other minor arts too. Okay, today we're going to do Picasso. Pablo Picasso was born in Malaga, in Spain, on the southern coast, on the Mediterranean, in 1880? Let's say 1880. His father was an art teacher at a school, and so he was encouraged from early on to draw. Okay, we're talking about modern art, which means for our purposes up to 1950. The best place to begin, I think, is with with 3 of the post-impressionists. These would be Cézanne, Van Gogh, and Gauguin, and then and Seurat. Okay, notice this is almost entirely a French affair. Manner of asking questions, seeking, apparently, ostensibly, O-S-T, ostensibly seeking knowledge, but in fact demolishing, destroying the assumptions and the absurdities and the indefensible views of other people who were so sure they knew what they were talking about. So, they set about to destroy Socrates. I'll tell you about that in a minute. We have plenty of time. And they put Socrates to death. And Plato apparently traveled at this time. It was a good idea for him to be out of Athens anyway. According to ancient tradition, the author of the Pentateuch was Moses. But the Pentateuch is full of contradictions, of doublets they're called, of verbal problems, that is, words that Moses could not have known, that is, words that all religions originate in the mystical experience of someone. All religions. Now, a mystic is a person who has had, or seeks communion with the divine. Communion is not communication, it's communion. This is not verbal, not words, with the supernatural. Okay, we're going to talk about Plato's Symposium. It's certainly his literary masterpiece as a piece of literature. Not really as a piece of philosophy so much as a piece of literature. But it's wonderful. It's a masterpiece. Okay. Now the structure that Plato uses here, he has used before too, and it's curious. One wonders why. Synoptic Gospels. Synoptic. The synoptic Gospels are Matthew, Mark, Luke, the first three books of the New Testament. The New Testament has 27 books. The Old Testament 39. Total 66. In the New Testament, the first four books are called Gospels. And the first three synoptic because they see together. I'll discuss Luke. Luke is the opposite of Mark in many ways, I think, from a literary point of view, from the point of view of temperament. Okay, Luke is part of a two-part work, Luke and Acts. The two form one work, really, part one and part two. This is explicit at the beginning. Luke, apparently, is writing to Theophilus, beloved of God. We last did the gerund, and now I'm going to discuss this thorny matter of linking verbs. Linking verbs. I don't know the expression in Korean, but you will know it. A linking verb, in theory, I would say most verbs are action verbs. And some action verbs have direct objects. For example, he hit the table. He ate the chair. Okay. These are action verbs, and these verbs take objects. Some action verbs do not take objects.